Great. So welcome to our first class on winter wellness care or self-care for winter. I've renamed it a couple of times, but the idea came to me because these the things I'm going to show you are things that I've tried myself, and some of them are recipes in the kitchen, and some are yoga things. For those of you who don't know me, I am a licensed massage therapist for many years and an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm certified with the National Ayurvedic Medical Association. And my approach to Ayurveda is through food, spices, and using different substances to make our food be very bioavailable to us so we can really absorb it. And I also teach yoga. So today we're going to be working with an element of comfort. A couple of years ago, I was introduced to this book called The Little Book of Hygge, and it's by this author Meek Wiking, and he's the CEO of the Happiness Institute in Denmark. Actually, they study happiness, and Denmark is considered to be a very happy country. The only country I know of that has gross national GDP for happiness is Bhutan. They actually consider it a quality and a value that's something that's very important and unique. So his book talks about this concept of Hygge that's easier to say that than to translate it, because it means different things. It can mean comfort. It can also mean community and connection. It can be translated as hominess or simple things. So it's a simplicity of things that it's not based upon acquiring more things. It's really about experience. And today I thought we would experience making a turmeric and cinnamon chai masala, a masala chai. And I have the ingredients here. And before we start, I was just going to turn my screen so you could see another experience of Hygge. In this fireplace we have here, and that is a masonry soapstone fireplace bake oven that's being fired right now, and it radiates heat. And it is built by my husband. We have a lot of soapstone in our house, and we have radiant floors, which makes it really comfortable when the weather gets chilly. So every week we're going to be doing a few different things. We're going to go up to the studio in about 20 minutes, and we'll do some chair yoga. But today we're going to do the tea. And I also wanted to just bring in the fact that the idea of comfort is good for our brain. It helps soothe us, so it helps us calm us down. It really helps to bring out the tendon, the friend, oxytocin kind of connection part of our hormone and parts in our brain. And I've studied positive neuroplasticity, and if you focus on these things of positivity, they say that neurons that fire together, wire together. So the more we create our internal comfort zone, the happier we are. And so it's a question of balancing the internal and external environment. We don't have a lot of control about external environments. Just look at the news. But we do have a lot of control internally. And that's really probably more important today than any other time period. So I think it's kind of interesting because Ayurveda is the science of life. I'm going to share this screen with you for a second. So on this screen, you see Ayurveda is the science of your life, and yoga is sometimes called the science of the mind. So just looking at, I've tended to take out some of my aunt's china and have tea in it in the afternoon when I feel like I want to relax. And there's something special about using a special cup or using, your special whatever pillow or things that bring you comfort, or a special spot in the house. It's again about that experience of comfort, ease. So these are the ingredients for this chai. And I want to say that this came to me from the Dempsey Center. It was a course on hydration. And the source of this recipe, and I've modified it a little bit, but the basic source of this recipe came from Rebecca Katz, REBECCA, KATZ.com. So she developed this. I didn't look up who she is, but maybe she's an herbalist, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna, her recipe called for the ground spices, and what I've done is use whole spices as much as possible, because there's a saying about spices that they don't grow old, they just fade away. So when you have a spice, you want it to be as bioactive as possible. So if you've noticed like a peppercorn, if you've ever taken a peppercorn and put it in your mouth and bit on it, you can taste the real sharp heat of that peppercorn almost immediately. Same thing with, I think, the cinnamon sticks and all that. Now you can vary this according to what is presenting in you in terms of your, we call in Ayurveda your doshic imbalance. And to simplify that, I'm just gonna let this stop sharing for a minute. I'll send you this recipe as well, so don't worry about it. But to simplify the thing about the doshas, if you're feeling dry, and this is dry season right now, it's cold, but the air is dry. Our houses get drier with our heating systems. And so the way you might notice dryness is you might have itchiness, skin, eyes, or dry throat. So that's a feeling of dryness. So to counterbalance that, you can add a pinch of salt to this recipe as well. Just a pinch, because that actually helps to bring out water. Salt is composed of fire and water, the element. And so you think of salt's very, you pour it on whoever put it on ice, it melts, and melting is water. So it will help balance what we call vata, dryness, air and space. If you're feeling inflammation, which could be more like aching or things of that sort, maybe acid indigestion, then you might want to use a little cardamom, because cardamom has a very soothing effect for your stomach. And also, if you're feeling a little sluggish, or you maybe feeling like you have a little excess fluid, then I would take this recipe and add a little more water than using the milks. They're nut milks, but you could use dairy. You could use dairy milk with this as well. I wouldn't combine salt with dairy. In Ayurveda, they talk about food combinations, and that's one of the combinations that's a little challenging for us. So let's get started. Oh, the other thing that they have in Hygge is very Hygge, our candles. Now, this is just an electric candle, but I think the Danes, they say in this book, how many pounds of candles they use in a year. They out, I guess they beat out everybody that in the terms of lighting. How often do they light candles, Danes? 28% light them every day. Okay, how many candles do they light at a time? Only 5% light one. Most people light 31% light up more than 5. So they really do like their coziness and their atmosphere. He mentions, I just want to say one more thing about when he mentions about Hygge. He says it's about an atmosphere and an experience rather than about things. It's about being with people we love, a feeling of home, feeling that we are safe and shielded from the world. So that's another thing I wanted to mention, how that intersects with the PNT, the positive neuroplasticity. They talk about the 3 core needs we have for safety, satisfaction, and connection. So Hygge kind of interfaces with those 3 aspects. Particularly when we feel safe or safer, we're able to we're happier. We're able to express ourselves in the world, maybe be a little more creative. So let me get the milk. Just gonna walk over to my fridge. And I have chosen almond milk. You can make your own almond milk, but I'm not making this. This is unsweetened almond milk. It's L-Uthia almond milk. So I'm gonna shake it to get, because I think you really need to settle sometimes. I'm gonna just give it a little shake, and I'm gonna pour 8 ounces into this cup. It's already got an ounce of water. So I'm just guesstimating, you know, this is a guesstimate too. You don't have to be perfect with this. If you wanted to caffeinate this drink, you could add a tea bag for sure. And we're going to be straining this, so we don't have to worry about. So what I've done here is I have, probably should have put that on earlier. I've started a double boiler. I like double boilers because as I'm talking, I'm not going to worry about scalding anything. The other thing about this recipe is you could pare it down and just have turmeric in it, which is the spice, and milk, and that's called golden milk in Ayurveda, and that's really good for inflammation. It's also kind of a nice thing to have at night when you're getting ready for bed. So I'm gonna pour this in here in my double boiler. And on to the next thing. So it calls for these slices of fresh ginger. There's a couple ways. You don't have to worry about peeling. Have you ever tried to peel ginger root? My goodness, there's so many knobs in it. So there's different ways you can do this. You can take a spoon and you can just kind of take off some of the skin with, let me move all my items out of the way here. Why does she have that hammer? You'll find out. Okay. So you could just take a spoon and just scrape it a little bit if you want to get some of the skin off. Doesn't matter because we're going to be straining this, so you could keep the skin on. It has to be really fresh ginger. I don't know if you've ever seen when ginger dries out, it doesn't work anymore. It's not going to give you much. You could maybe do some things with ginger, dried out ginger, but today we're just going to use this. So you see how quickly that peeled pretty fast. I'm going to move the peels out of the way. And boy, I wish I could share that smell with you. It's great. So I'm going to just slice this in just a few slices. You could be generous with your ginger if you feel that your digestion is dull. Now, what does that mean? Dull digestion manifests as you wake up in the morning and you don't feel much hunger, and maybe you have to wait until like 11 before things start moving. So that's a sign of dull digestion. Another sign of dull digestion is you eat and you feel sluggish, kind of slow. That could be another sign of dull digestion. Or you develop, in some people developing allergies, catching it early is helpful because you might be able to increase the digestive fire. We call it agni. So I'm going to put these into the water milk substance. Now I have, I don't have turmeric root. I would have, didn't have a chance to buy any because I would have used turmeric root as well. I think if you're using the roots, you just have to boil this a little longer and slower because it's going to take a while for the ingredients, you know, to kind of leach out. So we just need a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Some people say turmeric, but it is T-U-R. So however you say tomato, I say tomato. Give it to you. I'm gonna put that in. And I should show you, I'm gonna digress for one moment. We seem to be doing pretty well with time. In my kitchen, I have what's called a spice box, and I change it seasonally. So this box contains turmeric already. It contains some things like cumin, coriander, and sometimes fennel in the summer. So I use these spices constantly, and that's why you can buy this little tray, and it even has spoons that are 1/4 teaspoon spoon. So we put that into the mix. Maybe I'll bring the computer over and you'll see it in a minute. And then we're gonna put in our pepper. Says here, you know, the recipe says a pinch of pepper. I like to use, like I say, the peppercorns. So I'm just gonna put the peppercorns in there. Can't help but take one and just, no, my goodness. Chewing on a peppercorn is a cool experience. I mean, it really does like liven up your taste buds with that way. Now I have cinnamon stick. I'd rather use the cinnamon stick than the ground cinnamon. And what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna kind of tap it with a hammer. So I opened it up. So it will, because it's an old cinnamon stick, so this interior, I can smell the cinnamon now, so I think I'm gonna get more spice, more bang for my buck out of that. And what else do we need? Well, that's all we're gonna put in right now, because we put the sweetener in at the end. The sweetener can be maple syrup. If you prefer honey, I would urge you to buy raw honey, because raw honey has the pollen in it and has the enzymes in it that the bees have distributed. And when honey is heated, that gets destroyed. As a matter of fact, you don't want to use honey in a hot beverage. So you want to let this cool down to warm, where you can put your pinky in it before you'd add your sweetener if you're using honey. That's an important fact. So I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna turn it up. I can hear the water kind of in the bottom of the pot, double boiler. And let me go back to my screen share so you can see, and I can send you this complete short recipe, because this is the how-to part. What I did in a small saucepan, I put the spices in. Mild spices. I don't know what I meant by mild. I don't know. I mean, maybe I just meant all the spices. And you just let it cook on low heat until you see small bubbles start to appear. And then I did mention here on the bottom, to balance dryness in your body, you add a pinch of sea salt when the tea is cooling. To balance the inflammation, you could add a little cardamom. And I buy cardamom seed and I just grind it in a dedicated electric grinder. So it's really fresh, because like I say, I can't stress enough that fresh spices have the bioavailability with them. Their spices and herbs are like little packets of information. They go in the body and they go in the cells and they do their thing. And these spices in particular, the pepper, really boost and kind of build your fire, your agni. I'm saying this, of course, with a cautionary. If you have GERD or some kind of colitis or something, then you need to speak with your primary care provider before you try any of these things, because it could aggravate, really cause not good. It can be, that could be harmful. So I'm going to stop sharing now again. Yeah. I take a sip of water, because I tell you that black pepper was a little strong. Now I also have, because I'm a massage therapist, I was curious about this. It's black pepper essential oil. Something you'd never use near your face, but you could add it to a carrier oil, a few drops to a carrier oil, like 4 ounces of oil, and you could use it on your joints, because it would help, the heat would help relief, temporary relief, not permanent, of course. Let's see, what do I have this up here? Oh, okay, I'm waiting for that to heat up. This is honey. It's what's left of the honey jar that I got. I visited the land of my ancestors, Albania, and everywhere in Albania there are farms, and there are people that grow have orchards of pomegranate, lemon, persimmon, all kinds of different cherries as well. This is cherry honey, so it has a purple color to it. I don't really know if you can see it, but compared to my local person, let's see, where's my honey? Oh, yeah. This is the local honey that I get. Shout out to Bonnie Bishop from Hartford. So it's got this golden color, and that's unfiltered. I mean, it's been filtered, but it's not been heated. So it's really delicious honey. It's got a lot of nutrients other than, you know, the regular sweet taste. Okay. So this is heating up. It's getting warm. I'd say it's almost done. I'd have to taste it, but I can see a skim on it. I'm going to bring it over and show it to you. Take it out of the pot. So I'm gonna bring it down there. I see a little, you can see it somewhat. So it's in the shadow there, but what we do, I'm gonna turn off the heat. What I'm gonna do is strain this in a mason jar, so I don't have to worry about breakage. I'm just gonna strain it out. It's got that golden color because of the turmeric, of course. Lovely, lovely golden color. And I have to let this sit before I would add any sweetener to it, because it's too hot right now. I can barely hold it down here. Anyways, that's a simple way of making this turmeric masala chai. And I'm going to go back to screen share. So if you've got any questions, we're going to be heading up to the studio right now. But if you have any questions on the way, I'm going to just bring the computer up, and you are welcome to unmute yourself, and I'll answer them as we travel. It will be recorded, but you can email me questions too. All righty. So we're going up. I did not mute myself, so you hear me on the stairs. And we'll come back in here and be with you in a minute. All right, so here we are back in my studio. Actually, it is a massage studio. I want to show you something before we start. I've got chakra chart on the ceiling. Someone remarked about that yesterday, but I just got this from this star is from it's very Hygge, that star, from Mexicali Blues. So having things like that around, very cheerful, you know, people like it. makes you feel happy. That's the essence of Hygge. So let us get seated for our chair yoga. Find your seat. You have a chair, it's important. Now, this is a sturdy chair. This is a card table chair. So you want to have something that's fairly sturdy. And I just put this on the back because I'm going to be sitting there and, feels right to me. All right. Yeah. So thinking about that tea, great thing to have like after you practice a little yoga, you could have the tea, of course. If you have a yoga strap or this is a very long one, it's like a 12-foot long strap. That can be very handy. You don't have to have a strap. You could use a let me see, pillowcase. I've got one here. So I'm gonna give you a moment if you want to even find a pillowcase. Now, the thing about pillowcases that are nice is, especially if they're flannel, is that you can fold them like so in thirds and then put it behind your neck. And it kind of feels, oh, remember shawls. When I was growing up and going to church, as a little girl, all the women would have these neck, they have like neck shawls, but they were animals. They were like a little fox or something. They'd have a little clasp on them. I remember as a kid always wanting to touch them because they'd be sitting in the pew in front and we were only there for a little while. The children came in and I think they had a children's service or something. And I'd be so tempted to want to just pat this kind of, it's kind of a strange thought right now thinking about animals, but this feels very comfortable and it's organic. This is just flannel. So flannel sheets are another thing that are really comfortable. We all know about flannel and wait, sorry, we've got a chat here. Oh, okay. So if you can't have honey or maple syrup, oh, you could try agave maybe. Maybe that would work if that's something you could think of. Some alternative sweet. It doesn't have to be honey or maple syrup. I think, it could be, or maybe if you could have organic sugar. I mean, if not, I find, Ireland, that the chai is sweet without adding anything, quite frankly. So, because sweet is yeah, right, sure. So just skip it would be fine. That's what I would do. Yeah. All right. Okay. So coming back to our seat, finding a comfortable seat. I'm gonna just take this off right now. Now, I want you to just sit up with your sits bones, kind of feeling the weight of the chair, feeling your feet flat on the ground. Maybe you have to move back a little bit so you can see me. My feet are flat on the ground. And if your feet can't reach the ground, you can always use a bolster or blocks. Blocks too. Sometimes blocks are nice, whatever. But I'm sitting really on the edge of the chair here, but I can feel the ground beneath my feet. So I want you to notice the ground. Let's start with some in breaths and exhaling. And you could I invite you to make an audible sound with the exhalation. And one more. Now you can let the tongue rest on the roof of your mouth. And you can notice, begin to notice, maybe you could move your feet a little wider than hip width apart, the toes are pointing forward. So you begin to feel this very solid base. I think the other thing about Hygge seems to me it's based on feelings of safety and foundational, real foundational to us psychologically is a feeling of safety and recognizing our solidness, which again is a very, in Ayurveda, that's very Kapha-like. That's Kapha is water and earth. And we are composed, our physical body of fluid and mass, earth-like whatever cells are from elements. So we have that feeling of solidity. I want you to invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and see if you can bring to mind that feeling of comfort. It could be right now in this moment, or it could be in the past, feelings of maybe being someplace that for you represents complete comfort. When people tell me they think of their bed at night, how comfortable it is and warm. So whatever it is, just take a moment and see if you can note that, and then let that sink into you. Maybe enrich it a little bit, enrich that sense of Hygge, of maybe a new word you just learned. But we know in the Danish society, they look out for one another. So everyone feels, there's a sense of interconnectedness, caring about others, others caring about you. So you could think of maybe your social circle, people that care about you and people you care about. Could be people, pets, could be a place on the earth, just caring about the earth, how it supports and nourishes us. And of course, we're in the winter right now where things are silent, but we know the trees are living, even though they don't have their leaves. So we kind of expanding that, and then see if you can absorb that into your body. So we're having an experience, enriching it and absorbing it. Those are the first three steps for the HEAL method in positive neuroplasticity. Have, enrich, and absorb. And the last step is completely optional. It's called linking, but it's really important. So with linking, you bring to mind something that isn't quite comfortable for you. Could be just some minor thing, maybe parallel parking, whatever. And you want to just keep that in the background, while in the foreground, you have that feeling of satisfaction and safety, competence, whatever it is. So you're literally letting the positive feelings trickle into that little niggly spot, that little spot that feels a little less comfortable. It could be even part of your body. Say you have a nagging little tiny pain in part of your body, and you thinking about that, you know how it tends to get larger, but when you think about the parts of your body that are working, there's probably many parts that work well. So this addresses that brain aspect of yoga. In America, we think of yoga as being the asanas. Yoga is actually mental science of mind. But we will be moving. So let's take a breath in. Bring the arms up over the head. And you can keep them shoulder width apart if you like, and you could look up a little bit. Take a full breath in, and if you like, you could bring them together and then bring them right down to the center of the body. And we're going to do that 2 more times, coordinating with our breath, breathing in. And then exhale, little tuck of the chin. And 1 more. And exhale, tuck of the chin. And the hands are in prayer position. You can let the thumb touch the sternum in your heart area. That's the heart marma. That's a marma point, is a point of intelligence. So that heart marma is you're connecting to that. So it's sending love to you and you're sending love into it. And we'll take 3 breaths here. And then release. And I want you to think about your fingers and your toes, because these are where the energy points end in our fingers. So when we're in chair Tadasana here with our hands pointed down, think about that energy going into each fingertips, into each finger. So you could think of the thumb, the index, the middle, the ring, and the pinky finger. Rather than thinking of it just like a block, you got tendrils like the trees do. And the same thing with your feet. With your feet on the floor, imagine you could even press down on the little toe on each foot, and then the toe next to that, second to little, and then the middle, you could even look to make sure they're there, and then the large toe, the toe that's next to the large toe, and then the large toe. So we have these toes rather than just a block down there. Sometimes they feel like a block to me when I'm in my boots and I'm just walking along on the snow. But you have these toes that help us, and they have energetic endings to them. The nerve endings go right down to the toes. So we're going to just take and we're going to lift up our heels and then rock back onto the heel. So we're going to lift up the heel and then lift up the toe. I'm going to go back and forth like this a little bit. Heel and toe. Great. And then I'm just going to take the foot and take it off the floor and just make circles with the ankle. And then we can go in the opposite direction. And then just shake it out and let it go. And then bring the other foot up. Just doesn't have to be far off the ground. And if it doesn't, if you're tired, you can put your foot on a block and do the same thing. You can make circles with the ankle. So we're articulating that ankle. You know, we just did a little bit of work with the foot. Now we're articulating the ankle. Now we can come back and just do a little pop with the foot, just bringing it up and down. You can hear sound. And then the other side, I'm just kind of pushing up from the ball mount of the foot. And then I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to make circles at the wrist. So you could extend them out, or you could just have them, you know, your elbows bent. It doesn't matter. We're making circles, wrist circles, and we're kind of moving the fingers around. We can do the wild piano player, which is the fingers moving out. Really wide piano, a wide keyboard, and then back, and then you can turn the palms up and move those fingers around, and then coming back, and then we can just shake them, and if you want, you can put your feet up and shake them like you're having a little tantrum, 6-year-old tantrum, and we can pound the feet a little, nice, and then just take a breath in and relax for a moment and notice. I want you to notice what you feel in the hands and the feet. Do they feel a little more alive? You can put your palms up. Might notice that a little bit. All right, we're going to take the right arm up. Reach up to the sky. And again, thinking of the fingertips, we're going to lean over to the left. Just a nice side stretch for the body. Now we're going to come forward just on the diagonal a little, and then round forward, and then come back to the side. So we're reaching up, we're coming over, and then we're rounding and kind of carving like a little arc, and then coming out to the side. And then one more time, reaching up, over, round, out to the side, and then just let that go. And we'll do the other side, coming up, Reaching over, lateral stretch, and then kind of exaggerating that as we come around, and we're just doing a little range. Come to the side. So it's like almost, I think it feels like a half circle. Coordinating your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Carving a line around. And then let go. And then let's make shoulder circles. Any way you could start, we're going to reverse them, of course. So whatever way you start, it's perfect. We're going to take 3 shoulder circles. And then we're going to reverse that. Nice. And now I'm just going to turn to the right. I'm going to take my right hand and put it behind me. I have a room on my chair seat. And I'm going to leave my left hand on my left knee. But I'm going to be careful to keep my knees in line so one doesn't move back. So I'm just going to turn a little. I'm going to keep the knees in alignment. Looking over my shoulder. Take a breath in and exhale. Now take another breath in. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale. Bring the left arm behind you. Exhale, turn, twist. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center. And you guessed it, we're going to do this again. This time you can take your right hand and put it on, your left hand and put it on the right knee, excuse me. So have even more of a twist, and then come back to center. And then left hand, right hand on left knee, left hand comes behind. Nice, back to center. A few more times and see if you could just kind of coordinate this with your breath. Great. One more time. Great. Now let's just open the legs up a little bit. Maybe the toes are wider than the heels. I'm going to bring my arms up overhead and I'm going to just lean forward. Now you may be able to reach the floor, or if you have blocks, you could come to the, like this is a chair Utkatasana. You want to be on something really solid so that chair does not fall come out from underneath you. So I'm just kind of bending forward, hanging for 3 breaths. Breathing in, 1. Exhaling, breathing in, 2. Exhaling, breathing in, 3. Exhaling, and then slowly roll all the way up. Nice, and bringing the feet together. We're going to look up. And then we're just going to come forward over our lap. Do this again, kind of hanging. If it's uncomfortable, you can make room for your abdomen. And just hanging down, breathing. 1. In and out. 2. 3. And this time we're going to bring our arms by our ears. And we're going to come up and straight back. And we're just going to lean forward a little bit. So we are literally in Utkatasana, chair pose, double chair pose. Got a chair and a chair, right? So we are really, it's just like, this is Utkatasana with a chair, which makes it really nice. And then release and let that go. And let's do this again. We're going to open the legs. We're going to look up. And then we're just going to come down, and you can even put your hands on your knees if you like, or on the floor, whatever feels good. Maybe roll your head around side to side, nod up and down. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll all the way up. Arms come up overhead. Now we're in chair mountain pose. Our feet are parallel. And we're going to go back to Utkatasana, leaning forward a little bit in this chair pose. And you see if you can bring your navel to your spine. Nice. And release and let that go. Now, if it's available to you, I'm going to have you cross your right ankle over your left knee. If that isn't available, you could also use a block and just kind of set your leg on the block. But this way, we have a little bit of stretch on the side hip area right away. And if you find your knee is moving up, that's okay. Eventually, it may open up a little bit. So you want to just kind of give yourself a little time for this. This is seated pigeon pose. And we're just gonna occupy our time by rotating our ankle, again, our foot, because it was getting a stretch here on the side. And then quieting down, we're going to take a breath in, bring the arms up, and then we're going to just come forward a little bit. So until you feel a sensation, and you can drop your hands, you might feel a sensation in the hip. You might feel a little sensation in the low back. I have to admit, I am right now, so I'm being cautious with this. But it feels like a good stretch. So we're going to stay here for counts for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then slowly roll up, taking your time, and then just let that leg go. Maybe bring it out and just open and close it a little bit. Just shake it out a little. So we have a little hip opener for that. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to take, and you may find a little difference in either side. It has something to do with the low back and our position of pelvic positions. So my left ankle is over my right knee. If you have knee issues, I wouldn't advise this. Again, I would just use a block, to open up a little bit like this. Not a lot, but just a little. I'm going to continue with this chair pigeon pose. Take a breath in, and we're going to come forward. And we're going to round over. And we're going to be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. And then slowly come up. Extend the leg out. And again, kind of move it around a little bit. And then let's come up to standing. And for the next few moments, we're going to use our chair. You want to have your chair back towards you, not the front. And you want to have it on something that's not going to slide. Because we're going to ask you to stand in Tadasana with the chair back next to you. And we're going to step back with the left foot. So we're in a lunge. And we're going to we can use the chair for balance. And what I like to do is lift and lower the heel. So we're getting a stretch for the calf muscle. Doesn't have to be a very wide, a long step back. So you want to listen to your body. We're doing this just a few calf pumps. This is a good exercise for your brain. If you're ever feeling stuck, this helps with the brain. Something that comes from brain gym educate. Great, and then you're going to step forward, and we'll step back with the right foot and find a comfortable stretch for you. We're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down a few times. And it's nice to strengthen and think about the foot. Good to strengthen the arches as well. And a few more. And then come back to center. And then we're just gonna open up wide. I'm gonna be off the mat. We're just gonna come back in this kind of a stretch for the upper, for the back leg. So it's like a chair pasarita. So you could use the chair back, or you could turn it around. And if you have a chair like I do, and use the chair foot front, but I'm opening my legs wide. And I'm just coming forward a little bit. Knees are soft, holding into the abdomen. And again, if you have blocks, you can always bring the chair up to you if that is available. Now we're gonna keep our hands down here. We're gonna bring our right hand to the center of the chair, and left hand just gonna reach up. So doing a little twist, and then come back down and bring the left hand to the center of the chair. Right hand comes up, little twist, and then back down. Let's do this 2 more times. And down, back, and down. 1 more. And down. And if you have a wall, you can always palm your fingers up the wall. And then great. And then coming forward, we're going to shift this chair so that it will be something you can picture. We're going to come to the floor. So it's going to be something that you could put your legs through. So you might want to put a blanket on the chair seat. I like to do that. Sometimes I like to put a blanket under my head. Depends on how long your mat is, your yoga mat. But what we're going to come into is legs up the chair for a final resting pose. So the way you do this is you just come close to your chair, put your calf muscles on your legs, and then I like to put a little blanket under my neck. And it should feel good. Your pelvis, your sacrum is completely connected to the floor. So your pelvis is in neutral. It's not really tucked forward. It's really in a neutral type shape. Depending upon the lengths of your leg, you may have to find, the seat back may get in your way. Some yoga chairs, I've seen them without the seat back on there so that you could bring your feet through. So this is one option. The other option is legs up the wall. You get close to the wall and you put your legs up. That's another option, but I'm just going to suggest you get into this position right now for a few moments. You could place one hand on your abdomen and the other hand on your heart, or close to your heart. You want to have your elbows on the floor. And take a few breaths. Yoga is so connected. The breath and the body are so connected. We take our first breath when we're born, and we don't stop breathing till the day we depart. So it's a very close link, breath and body. So see if you can tune into that breath. You can even put your hands on your ribs. Notice the ribs expanding side to side. Nice. A few more breaths. And we have a few more moments before we end. I'm going to roll up and you can stay with legs up the chair for about 1 more minute. And when you're ready, you can slowly come off the chair and become to a seated position. about 1 minute left. I'm just gonna offer this a mantra for peace mantra. You can listen to this. Om Shano Mitra Shamvaruna Shano Bhavat Varyama Shano Indro Brahaspati Shano Vishnu Ruru Kruma Namo Brahmane Namatse Vayo Twamiva Prajaksham Brahmasi Twamiva Prajaksham Brahma Vadisyami Utam Vadisyami Satyam Vadisyami Tama Mavatu Tadvaktara Mavatu Avatumam Avatuvaktaram Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. You can put your hands to your together, thumbs to the eyebrows, third eye. And peace, Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.